Hi, I'm Bethany. Welcome to Arcadian Revival, where we explore design, nature, and thoughtful living. Today's episode is our first in Arcadian Revival's studio kitchen, and we have jam-packed into a short amount of time everything you're going to need to know to welcome spring, Easter, Passover, or anything that you're doing to celebrate the season. The first thing we're going to be talking about this morning is creating Easter baskets using live grass and other nature-inspired gifts to fill the baskets. We're then going to be diving in and talking about using living arrangements as your centerpieces or your spring decor. And finally, we're going to talk about how you can engage your family and friends and end up repurposing, upcycling, reusing these plants as gifts to go out into your garden and to spread beauty the rest of the year. All right, so to begin with, we're going to start by talking about these Easter baskets. So the first thing you need to do is select the right type of basket. I recommend having a few different types of baskets because you can never have too many baskets. We like to, on Easter Sunday at some point during the day, go outside, whether we're collecting eggs or just getting some fresh air, and having something that is soft or more flexible or even smaller size for younger children, like this pink basket here, is super helpful for them. But when it comes to thinking about the basket that they're going to be waking up to on Easter morning, I would opt for something with a wider, more open base, and that's going to provide a few different opportunities for us to create something beautiful and really special. So let's dive in. Here are two different baskets. One is round, the other is more oval. As long as there is a large handle and a wide base, you're going to be able to put different goodies of various sizes inside. Also leaves you the opportunity, which we love, to plant some type of live grass in here. This is just using wheatgrass, and what I love about wheatgrass is that it is certainly pesticide-free because it is food grade safe. You can actually just cut them down if they get too high before the Easter holiday. They grow very quickly and under a lot of different conditions. You just have to keep them moist, water them in dark. They will sprout up within the first couple of days of planting them. And then you can always trim them back after Easter and throw them into a smoothie if you want. What I like about this too is this really brings nature indoors, and it gives kids a chance to, instead of being distracted from the season with gifts that aren't necessarily connected to spring, it brings the season to them and really gives them a chance to feel the coolness of the grass. Up here in upstate New York, it's still a little bit cold outside, and so this just doesn't just feel like spring, it really feels like summer, and it gives them something to look forward to and experience. Okay, so let's just talk about baskets for a second. I have two baskets in front of you right here. The first basket I have a few of for our children. They are all standard. They are all the same. They can be mixed and shared. And what I love about this is the walnut stain on it. I also love this nice round base and how sturdy the basket is. The basket over here is actually my childhood basket. And a fun fact about this, the woman who my mother sourced this from was an artist who actually hand weaved the fishing baskets from the movie A River Runs Through It. And so these are little heirloom pieces for us. Mine has become a little bit more fragile over the years, and I only have one of them. So we actually use this year round in my daughter's bedroom, where she keeps all of her ribbons and scrap fabrics for different creative projects that she has. So this is something, if you take care of your pieces, hopefully they last the next generation. And that is really part of what we're going to be talking about here today. And I'll also go over that with a few of the different gifts that we have to fill the baskets as well. Now, to create something like this in a basket you might think is messy. It's really not all that messy. I have ribbon here today that you can see already tied on the bow in the basket in the back by one of my favorite artists, who you might know on social media, Riley Sheehy. She creates a lot of different beautiful book covers and illustrations and card decks. This is a ribbon that she hand designed that we are using this year. This is the kind of ribbon that I hope to cut once and then be able to reuse again, if not for the baskets, for something else. And so with that said, her ribbon came in the mail in this plastic container. So the first thing that you are going to want to do is to cut to size something that is going to hold water inside of your basket. I'm not going to go through every step in this video, but you'll get the point. If you cut this open to size, and you bring it up the sides of the basket, you will be creating a water-safe membrane inside of the basket where you're not going to have to pour loads and loads of water on this wheatgrass to get it to go, but you will make sure that you're preventing any little bit of extra water runoff that you have as you are spraying heavily or kind of dousing lightly with water to get the grass to grow. Once you have the walls built up, I ended up reusing, and I'll pull a little bit of this out here, old liner for our hanging baskets that we'll be replacing this year, so you can see what this looks like. I put this on the outside of the plastic. I tuck it in so that if there are little peaks and holes within the basket, you don't see them. And it looks like a really beautiful kind of natural inner shell of the basket itself. From there, I use my own potting mix, always peat-free. I don't like to use any perlite because I don't like those little white dots showing up, specks showing up in the soil. You can see how pretty this looks. You just put that in there and fill your basket. Keep in mind not filling the baskets too high, especially if they are deep like this. You don't want them, one, to be too heavy once this is full of soil with water, but then two, look how high this grass grows. It would be perfectly fine to fill the same amount of soil in the steeper basket and have the grass just start lower. This is also going to give you more space to fill the baskets as well. So once you are finished, this is what your basket's going to look like. You can always add more seed to it if it doesn't feel like it's filled out thick enough. And then you have a lot of space to, don't be afraid to move this stuff around. And once you start to tuck different books and goodies into the baskets, it's going to take on its whole life and it's not going to look like there's too much grass in there. It's going to be just perfect. All right, when it comes to filling Easter baskets, we try to be thoughtful. We try to be practical about things our children are going to need that we're going to purchase anyhow. And when the Easter Bunny comes, the Easter Bunny also keeps in mind the gardening season and things that we like to do as a family. In the past, we've even had the Easter Bunny bring a little wheelbarrow that sits next to the Easter basket, or put the Easter basket inside of a wheelbarrow rather. One thing that wouldn't fit in an Easter basket that I have on display right here is this little pull toy. Perfectly acceptable for the Easter Bunny to just leave this next to the basket and have it be something fun for your child to be able to play with. What's great about this is this was actually mine when I was little, and I think it's just another nod to taking care of our pieces, to investing in pieces that are going to stand the test of time. And how sweet is this? It's something that our kids have actually loved here, and I couldn't resist from bringing out and putting on the table today. We think about, I mentioned different practical pieces, tights. We have done rain boots, especially when they're little, because they are just so tiny and they fit right inside of the baskets. Different hair accessories, things that they might need for school anyhow. Of course, we do some sweets. This little box here is just very thoughtful. It has a beautiful illustration that feels like spring, connecting to nature. It's seasonal. These are little shortbreads, and they're just darling. And so we're going to put those in there. I'm going to follow a nature-inspired color palette for everything that goes in the basket as well. It wouldn't be an Easter basket or a holiday at Arcadian Revival without thinking very closely about books. And so thinking about one larger book that might serve as some type of foundation or kind of anchor in the back of the basket, and then layering in small things in front of it is how we always do things here. This is a book that I want to give a nod to especially. It's called Saving the Countryside. It's the story of Beatrix Potter and all of her work as a conservationist. And it's beautifully written and illustrated and will tell you a lot about Beatrix Potter that you might not know otherwise. I'll be including a list of a lot of our book recommendations online in my Substack that you'll be able to also access through our website. So make sure to follow along and check us out and look for different links in our captions below this YouTube video as well. So using a book in the back as an anchor, and again, this grass is thick, so I'm not worried about the book or anything else in here getting dirty, really. Generally, we don't worry too much about getting dirty when we're playing here at home. So this is nice and propped in here. Something else that we're loving this season are these tin Easter baskets. I remember having a version of something like this growing up, and it's great because they're beautiful on the inside too. And so you can fill these with different gifts and layer them in, and you can use these in your Easter basket year after year. Your child can just set this out inside of the basket right before Easter, and then you have something that gets filled with a goodie each year. And it's something that they can kind of keep and play with, and maybe keep trinkets or something special in throughout the year as well. So as I'm tucking this in, Another approach that we have that I'm really excited to share with you, you can hear the little jingle of this bell right here. Instead of purchasing new things, we have kind of gotten into a really fun cycle of searching for different American Girl doll accessories that aren't made anymore, that are secondhand, and we have acquired all of the different pets for a number of the American Girl dolls, and they all come out in their springtime story. And so purchasing something that is lightly used and loved and giving it a second home in life is something that just feels so fresh for spring and makes me feel good as a parent for including in an Easter basket. And so I'm just going to tuck him in right there. Isn't he just so cute? The other American Girl find that we found was Samantha's flower press. Now, we are huge into pressing flowers here at Arcadian Revival. I'm sure it's no surprise if you've been around for a little while. And so this little miniature flower press is just the most precious gift. Obviously, Natalie's other flower press is up here on the wall behind me. The kids are always outside exploring, adding to their nature collections, a magnifying glass, binoculars, different gardening tools, compasses, outside journals. These are all things that we have that connect the kids to nature. When the temperatures start to warm up, it's the perfect time to give them the new gear to get them excited to go outside and explore and connect to where we live in a brand new way. I hope you will use some of these ideas to inspire you this Easter season, and would love to hear what from this basket or from this whole process may have inspired you and your Easter basket celebrations this season. The next thing I wanted to share with everyone today, and ties exactly in with how we planted the grass here, is to do live container gardens. I use the same process for container gardens here at home. If they don't have natural drainage, I will put some type of small rock in if they're going to stay in the pot for a little while. As long as you are going to be checking this every couple of days or not keeping it in the pot for too long, you don't even have to worry about placing rocks in here, if I'm being completely honest. And we'll talk about what you can do with the flowers after you're finished. I bet you have an idea. So I've just gone ahead and filled this pot here, which is a great antique brass piece that I found at an estate sale. And what I'm going to do with this actually is to bring in an azalea plant that I have picked up that I will then be gifting after the Easter season is over. So I'm going to gently just open up the root system, make sure everything is well hydrated before I put it in the pot. Make sure everything has a really good drink. You want to have the plant be at a size and depth that is going to be conducive to the pot that you're putting it in. And this is going to be great to put right in the center of a large buffet or table. If you're using a larger centerpiece in your table, you want to make sure to just move it before everyone sits down for meals so that it doesn't get in the way of all your food and other treats. And you're just going to fill this in until you get to the very end. And honestly, this azalea in this brass pot sits beautifully by itself. You don't have to fill in and add a lot of different plants here. And you just have a beautiful presentation. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. Look how easy that was. You guys can do this at home too. You can even, if the vessel is something that you don't particularly care to keep, give this as a gift to your mother-in-law who's coming for Easter brunch or dinner or whatever the case might be. Be creative in thinking about how you can be thoughtful for your guests and other people, and what is going to actually happen to whatever you're using after the holiday. So very minimal waste. We have a perennial that is going to be planted in the ground and come back season after season. A few of the last things that I'd like to share about a nature-inspired living arrangement is we've done a lot of things over the years, and we always include live flowers and plants right in the center of our table. I've actually used the basket that's up on the wall behind me as a centerpiece before, and layered it with all kinds of flowers and tucked in different Easter eggs that we've dyed. Someone had gifted me a set of these little nests years back that I've used in each of the different place settings. And this is an example of a grapevine that I just foraged outside with my daughter as we were waiting for the school bus. And so nesting this inside of the grapevine that we picked just gives it a little bit more of a unique and organic and meaningful aesthetic that you can then place on your table. Something else that we always do as a way to continue to engage our children and family in Easter after the holiday is to go out and plant these violas in our gardens. Last year, our violas actually lived through December, which was pretty bizarre, but they are different plants that will grow, and there are perennial varieties of these that will come back again each year. So look out for those, do your research, think about different colors that you love or that might be exciting for your children. We also go ahead and tuck some of them in old books to press, and then the flowers, and I have a couple tucked in here already, are then a reminder of that holiday as we celebrate together. So whenever we press different flowers, and violas are a great delicate petal to start with, you can even go ahead and press these ahead of time and then put them on your Easter eggs, which my daughter just told me she wants to do again this year. So I'll be saving a few more of those once we wrap up today's video for that purpose as well. A flower that I always make sure that I use when I'm potting that I don't have up here yet today are hyacinth. So when you're thinking about different plants that you want to use as part of your tablescape, make sure that you do something that's a little bit more of a filler, like these violas, maybe something that's a little bit taller, like this azalea, and then think about all of the senses. So the hyacinths always are the most fragrant in the spring. Don't let a year go by without bringing some hyacinth into your home. You can then, after Easter, go ahead and plant the bulbs in any of your perennial gardens and wait the next year for those bulbs to come up again. All right, a final trick, tip, exciting part of how we like to celebrate Easter is you can even put seeds right in the Easter baskets or have them as an activity for your family to do together on Easter. I know my parents don't live right here, and so when they're here, a special activity that we have planned for this year is to plant even more seeds together. It becomes a memory that we have of time together. And so this year the kids will be planting seeds. We have here some different seed packets that my daughter actually drew and wrote the names of. We have some kale and some marigold seeds. So we'll be planting those. I love the idea of keeping seed packets that the kids can draw or illustrate or write on themselves. It makes them more engaged with what we're working on, and then you can save some seeds for the following season. Also, spring is a great time to just pick up some herbs. If you aren't growing them from seed yourself from the local nursery, it doesn't have to be complicated. Plop them into a little terracotta pot like this. We've been using this basil in the kitchen for a little while. Integrate these flavors into your Easter menu. Dill is really popular Easter weekend at our home with some salmon that we like to cook for brunch. Once you finish using your herbs, get ready to pot them and transition them. It's that time of year out into your herb garden or onto your patio. It's a fun way to bring the food that the kids are eating into celebrating the season and into what you're going to enjoy in your garden the whole season ahead. We hope that today was fun for you to visually look at all of the great things we have out here on display. We hope that you incorporate and have a lot of great ideas that have come out of all of the different tips and insights and storytelling that we've shared with you. And again, this is such a great morning and special morning for us to be recording in the studio because it's the first time that we are sharing the space with you in this capacity. The room that we're in right now is designed to be as versatile as the season. We're using this as our summer kitchen. It is literally just steps outside of our garden where we will be doing some more seasonal cooking in this space. This is also designed with a sink and a great work surface behind me to be creating more floral arrangements with you and all kinds of other creative endeavors and projects that tie into Arcadian Revival. Stay tuned and happy spring.